No matter how brilliant of a student you are, the key to getting top grades in the days leading up to an exam and on the day of the exam has nothing to do with studying. It has nothing to do with your study techniques. It has nothing to do with how much content you know. It has everything to do with the routine that you have the night before an exam, the morning of an exam, and whilst you are basically going into the exam room, sat in the exam room before you open that exam paper. And in this video, I'm going to take you through everything that you should be incorporating the night before the exam, what you should be doing the morning of an exam, and how you should be sitting in that exam hall preparing yourself to open the page and absolutely smash the exam in front of you. The night before the exam, do not cram. Trying to cram the night before the exam is just going to make you nervous. It is not going to help increase your grades. What is, however, going to help increase your grades is doing a last-minute sweep of the exam. Now, what I mean by this is read through your specification or read through as many of your summary note pages as you possibly can. Make sure you are just familiar with all of the content. You should know it all by now anyway. You're not going to store anything in your long-term memory this evening that wasn't there previously. That's not what this day is for, and it's just not possible to store stuff in your long-term memory overnight. So you're going to go through the spec, you're just going to glance over everything. This is going to lower stress and make you think, do you know what? I've actually got this because I know the vast majority of these topics. And occasionally what will happen is as you're sweeping through, you'll go across a subtopic and you'll think, I don't remember anything about this. This is really stumping me. And then you've got a wonderful opportunity to go and quickly get that into your short-term memory so that if it comes up in the exam the next day, you're going to excel on it. And the way that you're going to do this is you're going to take whatever this little subject is and you're going to watch a video on it or read through a textbook and then do a bunch of practice questions. We're going to skip the sort of blurting, the SQ4R, the question bank bit in the middle because you don't have the time to be doing that the night before an exam. You just want to be seeing something that you don't really understand, quickly correcting it with information, and then straight away putting it to the test. Because the next day, all that can happen on one of those topics is you get asked a question about it. So the best thing you can do is prepare by looking at questions. Alongside that, you should have created some summary sheets or some cheat sheets during your revision process. If you did not do that, the night before the exam is still a very good time to be writing a cheat sheet. The way that you'd want to go about doing this is looking at questions that you got wrong in past papers or thinking about those topic areas that you know that you're not very good at and just writing down some quick notes on a piece of paper. But hopefully you already have cheat sheets. Look over them right before you go to bed. You're sat in bed, you're about to turn the lights off, read through your cheat sheet. Because with that being sort of the last thing in your mind before you go to sleep, your brain's got the time to process it overnight, and that's going to make it much more likely that you actually recall that information in the exam the next day. Now, speaking of going to bed, please go to bed early. I know this is ridiculous advice. You've definitely been told it over and over and over again, but try and avoid going on your phone for about an hour before you go to bed. The fundamentally worst thing that you can do the night before an exam is stalk the student room, hoping to find that someone will have leaked the paper or that someone will be discussing what they think, is going to go on the paper. Please avoid the student room like it's the plague. It's not going to help you during exam season. It's just going to make you more stressed. So don't go on that. Turn your phone off about an hour before you go to bed. Have a bit of a wind down routine. Get into the routine of just doing a couple of things because this is creating a sort of habit feedback loop that will make it a lot easier for you to get to sleep. The worst thing that you can be doing the night before an exam is lying in bed for hours and hours stressing. And that might just happen. But you want to minimize the chance of that happening by having a bit of a nighttime routine that really gets you switched off. So it can be something as simple as what I used is I would have like a bowl of cereal and then I would go take a shower and then I would do skincare and then I would read for about 10 minutes and then I would journal for 10 minutes and then I would just go to sleep. And it meant that my brain was sort of preconditioning itself to go to sleep. So I very, very rarely would stay up for more than about 10 minutes in bed. Morning of the exam. Research has shown that your focus will peak 2 hours after waking up. So you want to be waking up about 2 hours before a morning exam. If it's an afternoon exam, obviously you don't want to be sleeping in until midday, so that's not going to apply so much. But if you have a 9 a.m. exam, try and be up by 7 o'clock in the morning. And that morning, okay, obviously you've heard all the advice, have a good drink, have some good food, but genuinely have a good breakfast, make sure that you're going to be all fueled, all ready, hydrate, bring a water bottle with you, because I'm the kind of person who didn't really drink during the day, which was not a good habit, but during an exam, I would get thirsty and I would not have a water bottle, and that was such a terrible mistake because then I'm not concentrating on the paper in front of me, I'm concentrating on the fact that I'm really, really thirsty. So make sure you prep that and you bring it with you. Equally, check through your pencil case. If it's a calculator exam, do you have your calculator with you? If you need a compass and protractor, do you have a compass and protractor? Make sure you just have everything you need for the exam. Review that cheat sheet that you either made or were looking at last night as well. if you can, take this with you to right before the exam room and just leave it with your bag, if you're leaving your bag, like, you know, in a common room or something, because doing it, looking over it right before the exam is immensely useful. Try and get some fresh air that morning, if that means walking to school, walking from the bus stop to school, whatever. That's going to really help you clear your mind, feel a bit more focused, and just make it easier for you to recall information because you've had blood flowing around your body. Avoid friends who are going to make you stressed. We all, like, you know, some people can be wonderful, wonderful people, but before an exam, they can be little stress balls. Like, oh my god, I haven't revised this topic, have you revised that topic? I've forgotten all of these equations, do you remember these equations? Oh my god, I think I'm going to fail this because I've only revised for like 10,000 hours yesterday. And you being stood next to them, you are going to pick up on some of that stressful energy. You do not want that right before this exam, because you've just had a whole night routine, a whole morning routine that is designed to make you feel calm, collected, and ready to ace this exam. The last thing you want is for someone that you're stood next to in the queue to throw you off. The way I would get around this is standing right at the front of the queue, trying to get into the exam room first. But if that's not for you, try and stand near the end, or just try and stand around people who just aren't going to talk to you. That can be really quite useful as well. If you're the kind of person who would like to chat through the exam before an exam, fair enough, go do that. But for a lot of people, that's just going to make them more stressed. Now, once you get into the exam room itself, this is where one of my little secret tips kind of comes in. And it is one of those that sounds ridiculous when I say it, you'll feel ridiculous doing it, but it will genuinely help you. And that is when you're sat at your little desk and you've got the exam paper in front of you and everyone else is still filing in, or the examiners are waiting to begin the paper, look down at this little paper and just smile at it. Visualize yourself doing well. Visualize yourself knowing the answers. This feels cringy and it feels slightly stupid, but it is what top athletes do before they go, you know, it's what Usain Bolt does before he goes and wins the 100 meters. Michael Phelps would do it before going and winning all his swimming races. It is a wonderful strategy that just gets you in the zone. And it sort of gives you that little bit of belief of, oh, do you know what? I can do this. This is going to be a great paper. I've revised really well for this. And you might actually find yourself sat there excited to begin.